All right, welcome back to the channel. This week I'm going to do something different. This week I'm going to, instead of teaching, because I think I've taught everything that, at least the basics that need to be taught for swing trading. So this week I'm going to show you the markets that I'm looking at to potentially take trades. And I'm going to also highlight some that I think may work out, but at least to me, the markets aren't that obvious as to which direction they're going to move. All right, so let's start off with the DXY, the US dollar index. We start off with the weekly. So let's strip the chart. Stripping the chart, we can see that we have been in a downward trend. So the market has been selling off for the past month, just over a month. And at the end of this week, we have a doji candle. All right, let's take a look here on our line. Yeah, we have our doji candle. So what that can potentially mean is that the markets might potentially start going up again. All right, so that's on our weekly. Let's look at the daily. The daily, we have an uptrend. Then markets were selling off for about the same 3 weeks. And then we had a little bit of a pullback. And then on Friday, we've got that daily bearish candle. So it looks like Friday we started to continue. The rest of the week, we were in a little bit of a pullback or what we call a retracement. Friday, we said, nah, let's just continue the trend. Right? And then you get a closer look on the 4 hours. You can see how that sell-off was going. So what I expect markets to continue selling off, maybe at least for a day or two. And maybe, just maybe, we might then start to continue and go back to the upside. But let's see, this here is on TVC. Let's see what the other brokers want to tell us. Let's see Capital. We have Doji on the Capital as well. FX Open, Doji as well. So basically, most of the brokers, they are showing us the DXY as a doji. And a doji on a weekly or a daily, that's a strong indication that price is about to change direction, especially if it's at a trend line or at a area of interest. And we've got a little bit of a trend line here, and we've got a little bit of a resistance zone here as well. So there's a strong possibility that this market is going to continue moving upwards this week coming. In the meantime, you might be able to take some quick trades on other peers whilst that market is still going down. And so I'm looking at these peers for the week coming. Why? Because they're already trending. So we have an upward trend on the AUD CAD. During the week, we had a little bit of pullback, which came back to this level. We can see this is a resistance level. And I'm expecting or hoping that this now starts to continue to the upside. So this is what I'm looking for this coming week. I'm going to put my stop loss below that area of interest. below where those rejections were. I'm going to try to get the top of these rejection points. So that's AUD CAD. That's what I'm looking for. Hopefully you can get that before the market turns around, if it decides to turn around. Next is the Euro CAD. Strip everything. So we have an uptrend. Looks like we have a pullback because on the weekly, this is the low. This was a new high created. This is a pullback, hasn't broken a low. So we're still in that uptrend, just looking at a pullback. And price created a weekly doji at an area of interest. All right. You see at an area of interest. On the daily, we did create a lower low, but we're at an area of interest, so we can potentially have a rejection from that point. And this coincides with a trend line at this level as well. We can draw a trend line. So another potential buy. Remember, anything is possible. This is Forex trading. This is not a predictions market. This is something that you want to respond to rather than predict. I think that this market is going to be bullish, at least for the first few days, unless, of course, with the talks between the US and Iran, something changes. Let's say the war re-escalates. If the war re-escalates, then the DXY is going to be bullish once more. And so these pairs, AUD CAD, Euro CAD, GBP CAD, they will start to sell off once more. So that's what I'm looking at. As it is right now, the DXY is bearish and it's having a bearish continuation. And so if the DXY is a bearish continuation, then the GBP CAD, well, basically all the CADs and the US peers, they're going to be bullish because the US and the CAD, they work well together. They have a lot of trade agreements. And so the CAD basically follows strongly whatever the US dollar does. So if the US dollars gain strength, the CAD is going to gain strength. If the US dollars get weakened, the CAD is going to weaken. And so we use that accordingly. So basically all of these pairs, the US dollar pairs and the CAD pairs, I'm looking at bullish moves for them. I'm not just going to jump into it. What I want to see, as I have explained in previous videos, I want to see two things. I want to see price breaking those trend lines, forming new highs, a higher high, and then a higher low, and then a equal to or greater than the higher high, which would be the ultimate confirmation that the price action is moving bullish. Right? The last one I'm looking at is the Aussie New Zealand. This has been bullish. As you can see at the top, there's some rejection. Let's see the other brokers, what they do. Yeah, same. Same. So nice, perfect price action, creating higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows. But what has me worrying about this pair even though I like how perfectly it has been moving, it's at a point where it's at a weekly rejection. So this area, this is a conversion zone. So at this zone, when price is bullish, it rejects and it becomes bearish. And when price is bearish, it rejects and it becomes bullish. And we're right at that area. Not only are we right at that area, it came to that area 3 times. And on the weekly, we can see signs of rejection. That's what these wicks are showing. So I'm going to be very cautious with this pair. I want price to come back to our area of interest, give us all the signs that we're looking for to get into the trade. So break the retracement trend line, create a new high. That's if I want to go aggressive. Or create a new high, create a higher low. Once it's created a higher low, then enter. But I'm going to be careful about placing my take profit above this zone. Because as you can see, whenever price gets here, it rejects. So that's what I'm looking for. I want price to come to my trend line, reject, and then start moving to the upside. Once it does that, I will feel comfortable. I will get into the trade. Now, the other pairs that I'm looking at, Euro AUD or GBP AUD. So what have we been doing? For the last 3 weeks, we've been selling. But this sell was a continuation of the overall trend because price had been selling off from August the 25th, basically. We've had a few pullbacks, and then basically from 22nd of November, we've had this long sell, right? We've been selling off the entire period from the 22nd of November, from the 22nd of December. And then finally, for 2 weeks, we had a retracement or a pullback. And then we just continued selling after that. So, what's likely to happen? Well, if we look at where price is at now, we have a minor trend line. We have a trend line on the daily, which is where price is at. And we have an area of interest. Now, it's possible that price could now be changing direction and just making its move to the upside. Or price might just follow the trend and then continue downwards. So what am I looking for? For me to take this trade, I would want, and which direction I would want price to, as it's doing here, I would want price to break that trend line, create a new high as it did. These were ranging highs. So these highs were made in a range, and these lows were made in a range. It broke out of that range, and the previous high prior to that range, it broke that high as well. It also broke that trend line. So what I want price to do before I take a trade here, it's created a new high. I want it to create a new low and then break this high. So I want it to make a higher low and then a new high. Once price has done that, I will feel confident that there is an overall change in the direction of price, the price action. I'll take a trade, take profit, stop loss below that higher low. And we use the same thing for the Euro AUD. It's at an area of resistance. It's at a trend line. Price is going to change direction from being in a bearish market to now being in a bullish market. We have to see price breaking this trend line, creating a new high, retesting the area, creating a higher low, and then continuing to the upside. That's what I need in order for me to take this trade as a buy, right? Now, what about if price decides to just continue selling? What would I do if I think price is going to sell? Well, once again, I need price to create a new low, create a lower low, retest the area, create a lower high, and then come back to the level of that lower low and close at it or beneath it. And if it does that, then I'm going to short the trade. Because that would confirm to me that price is indeed going to continue bearish. And that's what I'm looking for in order to take either one of these trades. The other trades that they're a bit far from where I would want them to be, but price could give us something that we're looking for during the week. It's a JPY pairs. Even though they're far away from what I want them to be, there is some wiggle room. So we have a minor trend set up there. Same is true. So the JPY, the Euro JPY, the NZD JPY, they're all at minor trends. And so they give potential trades. So these are good to look at. So there you have it. Those are the trades that I'm looking forward to for this week. And I hope that you've learned from this. And maybe you might take a few of the trades that I've highlighted here. One other trade, this one is, should I call it a bonus? Of all the trades, I think this one is pretty good, but I'm not looking to take this trade. Why do I say this trade is pretty good? We have price at a trend line, a significant trend line. But price is also at an area of interest, a significant area of interest. So we have our confluence that I speak of so often. And so it's highly likely that we can get a rejection from this area. It's quite possible that price is going to go up this area. Now, what would we look for in order to take a buy? Is I would want price to break this trend line, like I said, for the previous ones, break this trend line, create a new high, create a higher low, then continue moving on upwards. Now, the reason why I personally will not take a trade on this pair is because with my broker, the spreads for this pair are too much. It has a very high spread. And then the swap for this pair as well is also pretty high. And so I don't think it's feasible for me to take any trades on this pair. But if it wasn't for those things, I like the way this price action is setting up. If I had a broker that wasn't going to charge me as much, this would be one of the trades I would definitely be looking out for. Right, that's it. I hope you guys like the trade ideas and let me know how, if you took any of the trades, let me know how it went for you. Until next week, I'll see you again for our next trading session.